It's Lost in Plot, and today we have for you West Side Story. We're gonna sing, we're gonna dance. I didn't see it, you did.
That's right.
Let's find out, because nobody went to see this thing. That's the big news out of West Side Story. Nobody went to go see it.
What's the deal? It's a bit of a crying shame. This is Steven Spielberg in a passion project. He's not just out there shilling, making money. He's actually doing something he wants to be doing.
Beloved film and musical. And now you've got Steven Spielberg adapting it. Cost them over $100 million to make. And it only made $10 million back in its first weekend. And you can cry and say that it's the pandemic, but I mean, Spider-Man just came out this week, and it is crushing it. Big time.
That's not much of a surprise. It's just a sign of the times.
Well, if you're saying that the pandemic is the reason no one went to go see...
No, it's not the pandemic.
That's my
audience,
point.
It's audience sensibilities in terms of what's going to drive them out to the theater, right? And unfortunately, it's IPs, things that they are ready-made, sequels, things that they're comfortable with and that they know. And it's almost always superheroes.
Yeah, sadly so. So tell us about West Side Story. Tell us about this adaptation.
Well, what we've got here is old-fashioned movie making, where it's based on characters, fully fleshed out characters, good story beats, character drama, intrigue, all these types of things that we used to take for granted in the golden age of movie making that have since gone by the boards, in favor of whatever stylish excess that we all subscribe to now. This is a return to these types of fundamentals, and boy, for me personally, maybe that's my own sensibilities or prejudice, but it feels so good to see a real, true movie again. A movie without an agenda, without trying to push you one way or the other on politics, but just a movie that is so devoted to every aspect of its story and trying to render it in pitch-perfect fashion. And for my money, Steven Spielberg nails it here.
So he does a crowd pleaser, huh? A fantastic job.
Absolutely. I mean, the music is rendered fantastic. And a lot of these days when you see actors portray musical roles...
There's really no big-name actors in this at all, is there?
Our lead actor, Ansel Elgort.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. He's headlined certain films before, but he's by no means a household name.
Correct.
And he's in there, but largely the rest of the cast is virtually unknown. And to me, that was refreshing too, because it's been a terrible modern trend that in these types of musical roles where you want to put the big name actor, they can't sing. They cannot sing. And there's no hiding it. So instead what you have is these renditions of these classic songs, and they're auto-tuned and they're manipulated and processed so much that it's laughable. Laughable. I mean, for examples of this, the Disney live-action films are criminal. The Beauty and the Beast was just devastating. Like those musical versions of it, the audio tune is practically singing the whole song. Awful. Now in this one, maybe there's touch-ups here and there, because there's some very difficult vocal lines that need to be executed by these actors and actresses. But for the large part, they're using their natural voices, and they sound like singers. And it sounds fantastic. The orchestral score is amazing throughout. Very, very good. And Spielberg, I think, does a great job adding some good kinetic filmmaking in terms of the shots and the camera movements and everything that he's doing.
It's going to be my next question.
Yeah. There's no doubt he brings you back to this era, 1950s, 1960s type thing on Manhattan, where you have, again, the rival gangs with the down and out, struggling youths, and then the Puerto Ricans who are trying to make their way in America. It's a great setting. You got a bit of the Romeo and Juliet themes. I don't know how familiar everybody's going to be with it. Most people I've talked to have never seen it. I had never seen West Side Story. This was my first introduction into it, and I don't think I could have been in better hands than Spielberg on this one.
I'll say a personal gripe with Spielberg lately with his more modern films is the goddamn lens flares. Did he use that?
There's a little bit in there. I'm not going to tell you there's not. He definitely uses it to...
I can't stand those. Maybe it's just a personal thing with me, but right around the late 90s, maybe 2000, when he was doing Artificial Intelligence and Minority Report, his cinematographer, I forget the guy's name, he's been using him ever since, introduced the lens flare. So you're watching a shot in perfect clarity, and all of a sudden it gets too bright, and that flare...
Yeah, you're going to get some of that, particularly in some of the more romantic moments.
That's not going to put me off. It's just a personal gripe. Stop doing it.
you know, he filters some of the film at certain points, which I didn't think he needed to do. But overall, the look, the style, the visuals, it all was really nice. It's definitely a place that you want to go visit. You enjoy spending your time in this neighborhood that's soon to be torn down to make way for these high rises and whatnot. It's a very nice setting.
So everybody is wrong for not going to see this. Is that what you're...
Absolutely. In my opinion, I think you're going to enjoy it. It's a very good story. The songs are catchy. Chances are you probably heard them in some way, shape, or form in the past. They're all executed particularly well. We have charismatic leads. In fact, there's really not a bad character cast in this entire film. And again, they're all virtually unknown. Super talented, perfect for the roles, which is why it's such a true Vision. It's not, there's no cheap gimmicks like here's this big cameo from a big name movie star who's got no business trying to sing and dance. There's none of that. These are true performers, and they do an excellent job with the material.
I think you've sold me on going on watching it, on seeing it. But maybe I'm like everybody else in that I don't know if I'm gonna spend the money to get a ticket and go see it at a movie theater. Is that something that I need to do or should do in that setting?
I would argue that you should. Now, I saw it on IMAX, and I think that with Spielberg at the top of his game, I think the theatrical experience is really worth it. That's just my personal opinion.
Fair enough. So, how about a final verdict? I think I know what you're going to say, but I don't know. How good is this?
Well, look, it's taken me this point in my life to finally see West Side Story, which means
I still haven't.
Which means, yeah, so there you go. Which means we've been avoiding it. Why have we been avoiding it? Well, it's always kind of that cliche where you see it portrayed as, okay, these two rival street gangs are ready to rough each other up. And when you're trying to menace the other guy across from you in a street fight, then you start doing pirouettes in front of him, snapping your fingers and dancing the jive. It doesn't make sense, and it wards you off, right? But one of the best tricks he pulls off is he really commits to the source material. There's none of that schmaltzy musical garbage that makes you feel dirty and guilty for having to go see a musical. It's just like, oh, for God's sake, can you be a little bit more subdued than your flamboyant dancing here? You're in a street fight, for God's sakes. And they do a marvelous job toning that down, really focusing on the characters. So my final number, 8 out of 10. Very much enjoyed my time. I think people are cheating themselves if they're not going to go see it.
Fantastic. There you go. A highly recommended film for you this holiday season that is not a superhero action film. So maybe something different for people out there.
There you have it. That's my take on West Side Story. Guys, if you've seen it, if you're one of the few who's probably sitting in the movie theater with me.
Was someone in there with you?
There were maybe 2 or 3. I don't know why. But if you were one of those 2 or 3, leave your comments down below. Like and subscribe. Check us out on Twitter, and we'll see you all on the next one.